What you're about to hear might be the single most important financial information you encounter this year. If you own a home, have money sitting in a bank account, or have retirement savings in your name, there are legal traps quietly in place right now that could take everything you've spent your life building away from your family after you're gone. Not because of fraud, not because of a scam, because of how the American legal system is actually designed. And most people don't find out until they're standing at a bank counter after a loved one's death, being told they can't access a cent. Before we dive in, if this sounds like the kind of information you want to stay ahead of, go ahead and subscribe to Informer John on YouTube right now. You're going to want to see what else we cover. Today, we're going through every single one of these traps, the exact form or action that stops each one, and what you can do before this week ends. Let's start with the one that touches every single person who has a bank account, which means everyone watching right now. When you die and there's no beneficiary named on your bank account, that money doesn't go to your family. It goes to your estate. From that point on, a court process called probate kicks in automatically. Here's what most people get wrong about this. They assume their will handles it. It doesn't. A will is just a set of instructions written out for a probate judge. At a bank window, it holds no legal power at all. The bank honors the account agreement you signed when you open that account. If that agreement doesn't name a beneficiary, the bank has absolutely no legal authority to hand over even $1 to your family, no matter what your will says, and no matter who they are. Here's what probate actually looks like in real life. Most states build a mandatory creditor notification period into their probate laws, usually running from 3 to 6 months, during which time medical providers, credit card issuers, and anyone who might hold a claim against the estate gets the chance to step forward. Your family can't receive anything until that full window closes, and courts operate on their own schedule, not your family's. On top of that, the expenses pile up. Filing fees with the court, legally required publication notices, executor bond premiums, and attorney fees, in many states calculated as a percentage of the estate's total gross value, can easily add up to $10,000 or $15,000 or more before your family receives a single cent. And in contested or complicated situations, the whole ordeal can take anywhere from 1 to 2 years to resolve. The good news? There's a form that eliminates all of this. It costs nothing and it takes roughly 10 minutes to complete. It's called a Payable on Death Designation, POD for short. Under federal law, every FDIC-insured financial institution in this country is obligated to offer it. Walk into your bank or pull up your online portal, ask to file a POD beneficiary form. Provide your beneficiary's complete legal name along with their social security number and submit it. When you're gone, your beneficiary brings in the death certificate. The bank confirms the designation on file, and the funds are released within days. No lawyers, no courthouse, no waiting period, nothing. 3 things to understand before we move on. First, every account you hold needs its own individual POD form. Think of each account as a separate contract. Your checking, your savings, every certificate of deposit, each one needs its own designation, not just one blanket form. Second, if you have a brokerage account where you hold stocks, bonds, or mutual funds, that's different. It requires a form called a Transfer on Death Designation, TOD, submitted directly to the brokerage, not to your bank. Without that on file, those assets enter probate the same way an undesignated bank account does. Third, always designate a backup beneficiary. If your primary beneficiary dies before you and there's no contingent on record, the account reverts to your estate and probate begins all over again. The second trap affects every homeowner out there, and it involves the most valuable thing most seniors own. If your home's deed carries only your name and you haven't set up any transfer mechanism, it goes into probate when you pass. It gets frozen. Your family has no legal standing to sell it, lease it, or access any equity until the court process wraps up, and that can run anywhere from 6 months to well over a year in many states. In the meantime, the mortgage still has to be paid. Property taxes keep coming due, insurance has to stay in force, any repairs or upkeep still need handling. all while your family sits and waits for a judge to grant them legal control over the property. Several tools exist to move a home outside of probate. One approach involves co-titling the property, specifically through what's called joint tenancy with survivorship rights. When two people hold a property this way, the surviving co-owner automatically takes full ownership at death, no court required. The trade-off is that the other person becomes a legal co-owner right now, which can create complications if that person accumulates debt or goes through a divorce. A cleaner solution in many cases is a transfer on death deed. As of 2026, more than 30 states have made this available. This type of deed places your beneficiary's name on the property title, but here's what makes it powerful. While you're alive, they hold absolutely no rights to it. When you pass, the transfer happens automatically once the death certificate is filed with your county recorder's office. No probate, no attorney, no waiting period. In most counties, recording the deed runs somewhere between $20 and $50. It's one of the strongest estate planning instruments out there, and the vast majority of people have never come across it. Look into whether your state offers it. The third trap specifically targets seniors who receive, or might someday need, Medicaid coverage for long-term care. And it involves a law that most families only learn about when a letter from the state shows up after a parent has already passed. Every state is required by federal law to operate what's known as a Medicaid Estate Recovery Program. If you receive Medicaid-funded long-term care after the age of 55, nursing home care, home health services, or related coverage, the state must seek reimbursement from your estate after your death. The asset states most commonly go after is the family home, because by the time most people qualify for Medicaid, it's often the only substantial asset still standing. Nursing home care currently runs about $119,000 per year on average. A stay of 2 to 3 years can produce a recovery demand of $200,000 to $350,000 against your estate. After you die, the state sends a formal claim to your family, and in most cases, the only realistic path to satisfying it is selling the house. There are protections worth knowing about. Recovery cannot be pursued by the state while a surviving spouse still resides in the home, while a disabled or blind child lives there, or while a child under the age of 21 is present. An adult child who lived with you for at least 2 years before your nursing home admission and whose care helped delay that entry is also shielded. But timing is everything here, and this is where people get into serious trouble. Under federal law, moving assets, including your home, within 5 years of filing a Medicaid application is prohibited. That 5-year window is what's called the look-back period. Move the home into your children's names within that stretch, and Medicaid imposes a penalty window during which it refuses to cover your care. Real Medicaid planning has to start at least 5 years before you might need coverage. The most widely used tool is an irrevocable trust designed specifically to protect assets from Medicaid recovery, established well in advance. If there's any realistic chance you or your spouse may need long-term care within the next decade, sitting down with an elder law attorney now is one of the most financially consequential moves you can make. The fourth trap catches people who are convinced they've already handled everything, but whose beneficiary forms haven't been reviewed in years, sometimes decades. Your retirement accounts, your IRA, your 401k, your 403b already work on a transfer at death basis under federal law. They bypass probate entirely and pass straight to whoever is listed as beneficiary on the account. And that's precisely where the danger is. Federal law, confirmed by a United States Supreme Court ruling in Egelhoff versus Egelhoff, gives the beneficiary designation on a retirement account full controlling power. It overrides your will, it overrides a divorce settlement, it overrides any court order. If your former spouse is still the listed beneficiary on a retirement account opened back in 1998, that former spouse receives the money. Full stop. Courts have ruled against current spouses, adult children, and families time and again because a designation on file is what the law follows, not what the will says. This isn't a distant hypothetical. For many American families, retirement accounts hold the largest share of everything they've saved. A stale beneficiary form on a $400,000 IRA means all $400,000 goes to the wrong person and your family has no legal path to get it back. Go through every retirement account you hold. your IRA, your 401k, your pension if it has a beneficiary election. Confirm that the person listed is genuinely who you want to receive that money now, not who you named 20 or 30 years ago. Fix anything outdated. Do it this week, not when you think about it again someday. The fifth trap surprises people because it involves something that feels entirely safe: a bank safe deposit box. Many seniors store their will, property records, account information, and other vital documents inside a safe deposit box and hand a spare key to a family member, believing that gives them access when the time comes. It doesn't. Banking regulations at the federal level require institutions to seal safe deposit boxes the moment they receive word of a customer's death, even with a key in hand, even with a notarized will right there. And here's where it gets really circular. Without the will, your family can't start the probate process. And without a probate court order, they can't get into the box. The solution takes 5 minutes and costs nothing beyond your regular rental fee. Go to your bank and have a trusted adult, a child, or whoever you rely on, added as a co-renter on the safe deposit box account. You both sign together. After that, they have full independent access to the box. No probate process involved, no court order required. So here's your complete action list for this week. Head to your bank and complete a payable on death beneficiary form for every account you hold: checking, savings, and each certificate of deposit separately. For any brokerage account, reach out to your firm and complete a transfer on death designation. Find out whether your state allows a transfer on death deed for real estate. If it does, consider getting one recorded at your county recorder's office. If long-term care is a realistic possibility for you or your spouse within the next decade, speak with an elder law attorney now, before that 5-year look-back window becomes a wall. Pull up every retirement account you own, check who is listed as beneficiary, and update anything that's no longer accurate. Do it today, not later. And arrange with your bank to have a trusted family member added as a co-renter on any safe deposit box where you keep important documents. None of these basics require an attorney. None of these forms cost you anything. Every single one of them can be started this week. And every one of them stands between your family and something you spent a lifetime building. If this was helpful to you, and I genuinely hope it was, please subscribe to Informer John on YouTube. There's a lot more to come, and I don't want you to miss it.